Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Henry Ines. He is the CEO at Shivom. Welcome, Henry.
Hi, Juliette. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to have you on. So a few of our listeners might not be acquainted with Shivom. So could you go ahead and give us an overview about Shivom and what exactly it is?
Sure. So Shivom is a health tech genomics startup. We leverage blockchain and artificial intelligence technologies. And our primary mission is we're focused on building the world's largest genomics data hub and healthcare services platform. And again, as mentioned, we're really powered and leveraged by frontier technologies and the latest advancements in scientific research. And the idea for us, unlike a lot of the traditional companies in the genetic space right now, we are really focused on democratizing genomic sequencing for everybody. We believe that genomic sequencing is really important in the future for precision medicine, and we believe everybody should be a stakeholder when it comes to healthcare. So we're building an amazing platform, and leveraging the latest technologies, we're going to allow people to basically be able to get their genome sequence and be able to essentially control their personal health information and genomes, and from there ultimately be able to better manage their wellness and healthcare.
Absolutely, and healthcare is something that affects everyone at some point, whether it's affects them very young for their whole lives, or they're dealing with parents, or they're dealing with other people, and it's something that I feel has so much room for improvement, to say it nicely. And so give us a little bit of insight into how the blockchain and AI are really solving a lot of the problems that you're encountering in the healthcare.
Yeah, Julie, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting as we've embarked on this project, traveling all around the world. We talk a lot about the different technologies and the different, business models. But really, at the end of the day, when we talk about healthcare, it's just something that resonates with everybody. Whether people understand the technology or not, they truly understand healthcare. They've been impacted by it. And really, in many different conversations that we've had around the world, everyone agrees that the healthcare system, it's broken. So when it comes to drug discovery, it's still wildly very inefficient, resulting in very expensive processes to be able to develop drugs. Clinical trials are still really inefficient, and data is not easily shared. And so as a result of all of these things, it results in a lot of clinical trials that really don't even make it to FDA approval process. So drugs are expensive. And of course, as we all see on almost a routine basis, we see a lot of, in the news, a lot about data breaches. And this is particularly true when it comes to data and healthcare. So blockchain, one of the great promises that it has is that as opposed to the typical centralized architecture that most companies utilize today, the centralized ledger technologies and the blockchain will provide a next layer of enhanced security. And this is really going to help many companies around the world, and you're seeing this disruption happening in all the different sectors. But it's going to be able to essentially secure data in a new way that is going to empower people to be able to more effectively share data, and of course to control and retain ownership over their data. And so this is something that's very important. It really impacts every industry around the world.
And I feel like with this new generation coming in, I can only speak, kind of for my generation, but I feel like we want to have control of a lot more of our things. We're okay with having more responsibility when it comes to your finances, and that's why people maybe are more apt into getting into cryptocurrencies. And the same goes for our healthcare. We want to look into every option. It's not really doctor knows best. It is so much about self-empowerment, and this Shivom is giving people that self-empowerment for their personal healthcare.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for all of us, especially when it comes to healthcare, we've sort of lived our life in a way that it's very reactive. So maybe you start to experience some symptoms, you think that you're maybe catching a cold, and then you start to do your own sort of self-diagnosis, or of course you go to call your doctor and set up an appointment. But in the future, we see this to be completely different because through all the latest advancements in technology and all really just so many different ways in which we're able to capture data now, in the future, we're going to be in a position where we all have tremendous amounts of data at our fingertips. And as a result, we will be able to make decisions and proactively manage our healthcare. And so this is one of the great things that Shivom wants to do, is that we are really going to empower people to be able to essentially better manage their wellness. I see a day when we will basically have a variety of different interfaces, and we'll have tremendous technologies that can process all this data. And with that, we will be able to make some really informed decisions and, again, be able to proactively manage our wellness in a way that's never been able to be accomplished before.
That's such an exciting feature that you're outlining there. I love that. So
yeah, it's really resonated with so many people around the world. Again, this just notion that we are sort of helpless, right, and just have to just do what we can. But I think there's so much more we can do, and that's the future is very exciting because we will be the ones responsible for managing our own health.
Which is what we should be. I mean, it's your body. It ultimately is your decision and your health you're talking about, and it seems to be a natural way to view it in my mind.
Absolutely.
So, Henry, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you get involved in this particular space, and what makes you passionate about it?
Yeah, so if I look at my sort of entire career, I've had about 20 years of a professional experience. I started out actually as a sort of junior analyst co-op at McNeil Consumer Products, which essentially was a division of Johnson & Johnson. So very early on, I had a little bit of exposure to the healthcare side. I transitioned for the next few years focusing on management consulting, really working with sort of Fortune 500 companies. And then I moved on to sort of investment banking, a lot in the corporate finance area. And really my past 10 years or so, I've been in the venture capital space, focusing on late seed, early stage investments for high-tech companies. So, most of my experience, I would say, has been primarily in the financial sector, and most recently focused a lot on the entrepreneurial side and on the latest innovations. One of the great aspects of all this, I think, over the years is just being able to work with people who are focused on creating change. And that could be just through, really innovative business models or latest technologies, but all of it is exciting to see how people are utilizing these new approaches and technologies to realize change and ultimately solve big problems. And so when I look at what Shivom is doing and what we're all aspiring to do, we're tackling one of the greatest problems out there, which is healthcare. And again, everybody's a stakeholder when it comes to healthcare, and so we, are focusing on new solutions and new technology that we think are going to revolutionize the way that people can live. And I think if we do this right, everyone's going to live better and live a lot longer. And I think this is a really great promise and a bright aspect of what we hope will bring in the future of healthcare.
Let's dive in a little bit to the platform. So you've got the OMICS platform. Am I saying it right?
Right, like OMICS, like genomics. So it's OMICS, yeah.
OMICS, yeah. So tell us a little bit about, you've told us a little bit about the platform, but give us more of a deep dive about it and, how you can set up, how you can use the test model, et cetera.
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, we're creating a huge genomics data hub, and it's going to have a lot of different functionality. We'll offer a lot of different products and services on the platform. And I would generally say that it's centered around 4 different pillars. The first part is sort of the direct-to-consumer model. So at Shivom, you will be able to, order essentially a sequencing kit from us. We'll send it to you, and you'll do essentially a swab, and from there, through our platform, you'll be able to get insights about your health and certain predispositions. And so this is a particular consumer feature that we'll be offering very soon. In addition to the platform, of course, once you have this preliminary data and some of these insights, you're going to need probably somebody to help you better understand what this all means. And so another big feature on our platform is essentially you'll be provided access to genomic counselors all around the world. And so you've got this data. Genomic counselors will help you better understand what this this report means, and this will help you to better manage your wellness. The third aspect I'd say for our platform is some third-party applications. So companies will essentially be able to dock applications on our platform, and so once you've had your genome sequence, you've had some insights, you've just had some discussions with your doctor and your physician and also with your genomic counselor, then you can download apps that you can use to better further manage your wellness. And finally, I would say in the long run, once we've sort of reached a critical mass with all of our data, we are also going to be focused on AI-driven R&D, focused on developing solutions and against some of the rarest genomic disease that's out in the world today. So I'd say these are the four key pillars, and it's consumer solutions as well as offering enterprise and clinical solutions as well. So it's a very ambitious project, but I would say a lot of it, and really all of it, is grounded around genomics and this everyone's individual healthcare information that they'll be able to own and control. And that really is the biggest distinctions, I would say, between what Shivom is doing today and a lot of the other prevailing healthcare companies and platforms out today. Through blockchain and our cryptographic technologies, people essentially have the keys to essentially control who has access to their information, and they can decide, for example, if they want to participate in a particular clinical trial, which they could potentially monetize directly on their genomes, or maybe they want to donate their genomes to a particular research. They can decide who has access. And at the end of the day, that's what Shivom is all about. It's about control and having ownership over your information, and in this case, the genomes.
No, that is so cool. And there's so many possibilities with this. Once you open up these different worlds that we can access and use this data for, possibilities are endless. So when can we all sign up and start using this?
Yeah, no, this is a very exciting time. So, we essentially did our road show from around January and concluded in early May. We concluded our ICO, and we were very fortunate actually to be able to raise and hit our hard cap in a pretty record amount of time for $35 million. And we're really proud of that achievement, particularly given this very bare economy right now in terms of the crypto world. And since early May, we've been really focused on executing in the project right now, both in terms of our technology, and at the same time, we're getting ready to kick off some exciting pilot programs as well. One in India and the other one in Africa. So the technology platform I would say, is imminent. We're working on it right now with just some last minute testing. But that should be available actually by the end of this month is our target. So we're hoping to roll that out in a very phased release to a limited audience. But it's all done in parallel with the needs of our particular pilot program right now that we're kicking off in India at the end of this month. So I would say then, we'll start to get people using the platform and testing it in a few weeks, and then increasingly roll it out to the broader public in the coming weeks and months.
So at your time with Shivom, what are some of the biggest things that you have learned by working in this space?
Yeah, so first off, of course, healthcare is such a big problem, and we have such an ambitious project. So there's a lot of moving parts. In order to tackle healthcare, it's not just utilizing the latest technology solutions. We have so many different constituents all around the world, both in terms of developing economies and more advanced economies in the Western Hemisphere as well. So we are looking at all different ways, all different solutions to tackle the problem. And so even our upcoming pilot in India, we have to think about all sorts of different novel ways in terms of how we interact with patients and with donors. So it really is about being innovative and creative using combination of high-tech, low-tech solutions, and that's something that we've really worked on. Of course, technology is going to be a huge part of our story, and finding the right talent around the world is, as everybody knows, is very challenging. So we really work very hard to find individuals who are really passionate about our mission. And I think that's so important because there are a lot of very talented people out there, but without the passion, that's people who share our vision, I think that's something that's not sustainable. So we work very hard to find the right people to support and really lead the mission. And so we've been working diligently to grow the team, to be able to work on this project and our mission. Just keeping pace with just rolling out all the different solutions that we're trying to offer. The great thing is that most of the conversations that we've had with we're very fortunate in having partners all around the world. Most people understand the significant need right now to tackle healthcare and with new ways and new technologies. And so, I think people are really starting to learn what blockchain is all about right now and how the technology can be useful in our case in particular, of securing and sharing data. And also just in terms of how we can be more inclusive in getting people involved in the broader healthcare ecosystem. So, I think with any startup, you have a lot of different ups and downs. You're always fighting for talent. You're working very hard to stay on track with your milestones and your missions statement. We've got tremendous momentum, and the team is doing great. We're really working very hard to execute in accordance to our roadmap, and at the same time trying to make sure that we keep our broader constituents and our communities apprised of all of our progress and all of our different developments.
So where's the best place for people to go for themselves, kind of get a preview of what you're doing, maybe purchase some of your token as well to get involved? What's the best place for people to connect with you and your social media links?
Yeah, so of course our first place you'd like to go is our website at Shivom.io. We also have a really robust following in Telegram, so you can definitely find us there for Shivom. We're all in all the major typical social media channels as well. Our website will basically provide a very detailed overview in terms of what we're doing and ways in which you can, participate and sign up on the platform. But our Telegram channel is also incredibly active, and we're constantly trying to educate and engage our community, and obviously we're always very receptive to any outreach, and a lot of people reach out to us there with ideas, and we love it. We just love hearing all the ideas and suggestions. So we try hard to really stay in touch with our community. We've really been very fortunate to have an amazing number of supporters all around the world. So communication is key. I would definitely reach us on our platform and our Telegram channels, and of course all the other typical social media channels as well.
Fantastic. Well, Henry, thank you so much for joining us here today on Future Tech Podcast and sharing this exciting new platform and this exciting technology that hopefully we can all start implementing very soon.
It's my pleasure, Julia. It's great to have a conversation with you today, and always welcome to hopefully have a chance to come back and share more about what Shivom is doing.
Absolutely. That is Henry Ines. He is the CEO at Shivom. Again, you can check them out at Shivom.io and all the social media channels that Henry mentioned. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Juliet Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.